No. No more. Morning everybody and welcome to another video. Now, from a long time ago, quite a few videos back, come to the conclusion that there's something going wrong with this car in terms of losing battery power for some reason. We've changed the battery, that didn't do it. I don't really want to be changing loads of other stuff randomly without knowing what the problem is. So for now, I'm changing things I know actually does need changing, which with this, a common fault is the starter motor. Now, you can get a brand new starter motor, they can be quite expensive, but they can also be just as faulty, if not worse. So the advice I've been given is to basically get another starter motor off another like salvaged or crashed FN2. Fingers crossed it'll just work fine after that, since it might be a younger motor. Now, there's probably not enough juice left in this to even try and start it, but I'll show you what it does do. See, now it's just clicking. That's what I'm getting. It's either that, which obviously you can tell that's where it's running out of battery, trying to turn over but it can't. Sometimes it just clicks and does nothing. Sometimes it does the starter motor wear, like now. It just goes and that's it. You can hear the starter motor spinning, but the teeth aren't engaging. So I'm gonna have to charge this battery anyway. Now the starter motor itself might not be the problem. It might be that there's some other way in the car where it's draining the battery itself, and we'll have to try and identify that. But it's good to change the starter motor first, because after speaking to my dad, apparently the starter motor itself, when it's on the way out, can pull a lot of voltage from the battery itself, more than usual in fact. So we'll charge the battery, we'll change the starter today, and see what kind of difference that makes. Right, so there's actually two reasons why I took the battery out. One is because it does need a charge, and two, the battery is connected directly to the starter motor. So you want to disconnect the terminal anyway, but I just thought, well, might as well just take it all the way out and charge it whilst I've got the chance. Now, as we always tend to do on this channel, I'm pretty much going to be winging it. I've seen a few other videos of people taking off while trying to get to the starter motor. Not exact same model Civic, more like American shape. People taking off the inlet manifold or intake manifold, whatever you want to call it. Obviously I want to do the minimum amount of deassembly, so there's less for me to assemble on the way back. But we'll start by taking the slam panel off, and then we can see where we're going from there. Right, so now that that's off, what I'm going to be doing is trying to remove this like radiator cross member support thingy. One thing I will say, if you didn't know, when you put in like a grill on like this, one of these like Mugen replica ones, you don't need the brackets that the lights clip into, that clips them into the lights. It actually broke on this side. I just forgot that it's just been sat here all this time, so I might just take that out for now. But either I'm going to undo this one so it's disconnected, or there's two there that I can take out with this. I know that one's come off before, so that'll be easier, but I think I'll have to undo these ones to disconnect it from this brace piece here. So let's just tackle it and see what happens, shall we? There is still some latch cables attaching all this together, so I'm going to give it a bit of a wiggle and see what kind of movement we've got first, and see if anything else needs disconnecting. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to remove these whole brackets that are attached to the grille that are resting on top of the radiator. Snap, don't snap. Should have done these first really, because there's a lot of flex now in the bracket because there's nothing holding it on. The last thing I want to do is damage the grille because it's only fiberglass. See, with a standard grille you'll be able to remove it, but this grille is actually attached to the front bumper. Right, so there's some wiring at the back. So if you look back here, there's actually some wiring there that's, I think it's in clips, so I'm just going to pull that out. I think there's also a little wire plugged into the latch right there, so I'm going to unplug that as well, if it makes it any easier. Right, so actually scrap that plan. I found a cable that actually comes down from the latch just under here, and it plugs in to the fan. So I've unplugged that and took that clip out, so now that's not restricting it anymore. It's just the stuff on the other side to try and attack. Right, so the only thing that's attached now is the latch cable, and there's loads of other clips clipping it into this beam, so I'm just going to leave it as is and try and move it out of the way. Right, so the loom that was on the back is off. So that had 2 plugs on it as well as all these clips that are pretty much nearly broken, but one was unplugged in the radiator like I said, and the other one was unplugged out of the latch. So I've just popped that beam there so it's out of the way, so now we can see. I was kind of hoping that you would be able to see the starter motor underneath the manifold, but it's literally down there, so this is going to have to come out. I've never done this before. There's a lot of part work to worry about. Fuel rail's probably going to have to come out. I'm going to take my time, one step at a time. No rushing. If you don't get done today, don't get done today. See how far we can get. Right, so I've decided to take this part of the intake completely off just so that we can see what we're doing and where we need to get to. I don't want to try and cut corners and try and get round things and damage them, which I'd have ended up damaging the Y on the intake, so I've taken that off completely. There's these 2 lines here, which I'm probably going to have to disconnect, and a bit of coolant's going to come out apparently. I'm not going to lie, I am nervous about all of this because I'm nervous about putting things back in the right place, but we've got some spare coolant as well to top it up if needs be. And then we could try and find the apparently hideously difficult bolt to remove the whole manifold. Oh, it's going to look away. Oh god. Oh, it's bloody everywhere. I didn't think that much were going to come out, but it's not stopping. I've got an idea actually. This works. See, if I want a ramp, I could just be underneath, have the tray off, and it can just come down, but I can't do that at the minute, so this is the next best thing. Oh wow, look forward to when I can actually change this fluid. Is it going to stop or what? Come on, slow down. God's sake. Now I'm going to have to put the hose back on. If I drop this now. God, that is dark, innit? I've definitely bought the right colour, which I'm glad about, but it's like a greeny brown now. But oh my god, it's so hot. Why do it have to be the hottest day of the year up to now? I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself today, guys. You know, it's that hot, you're trying to cover everything, and I don't know. I will mention, I don't even notice, I actually got that for Christmas. My dad got it me from Donington Pit Lane. Finally managed to get it up on the wall. I think it looks quite good as like a centrepiece in the kitchen. Lovely. But yeah, all that coolant stopped coming out now. About 4 or 5 cups later, I've had to put it in a bucket. God, I'm so sorry. Let's carry on and see what else we can take off. Right, so I got on with it a little bit since I came outside, just because I've been out here for hours now and I just want to try and get some more stuff done. We haven't even got to the starter motor yet. So all the hoses that were connected, I've disconnected. So you've got this hose that comes through the top here. I don't know if that's a water hose, I can't remember. You've got your 2 down here, which coolant came out of. We've done them and drained them. You've had a plug up at the top, and there were 2 plugs underneath. You see that socket there, and there's another one under there. That's where those went into. So they went into the actual manifold itself. Now I'm thinking I don't need to disconnect that from the manifold. I think I can leave that connected now nothing else is attached to it. Just disconnect the manifold itself and off we go. I'm going to wrap fuel rail up in a bag so that the injectors don't get covered in rubbish. Plus, makes it a little bit more manoeuvrable than it needs to be. Right, so it's now the next day. I actually stopped yesterday because I was getting really hot and really angry at this one bolt that I couldn't break, which is the first one just here on the manifold. There's 2 others, two other nuts, one there and one down there. And then another bolt the same as that one on the other side. They all broke fine this morning. I've been out here about an hour and a half finding a way to break this bolt. I've been hammering it with a chisel and trying to turn it with a screwdriver. I've been using different wrenches, different grips, also it's absolutely mushed. But I found this little, I wasn't even looking for this, but I just found it 4 hours ago. Little ratchet, 12mm and 10mm, and then I just lightly tapped it onto as far back onto the bolt as much as I can on the head, and then held it in place. Obviously that's only a small thing as well, so I've been full on like body weight slamming it across the bay as hard as I can, and it's just broke. Honestly, I could have cried. I think we might actually be able to take the manifold off today. Wow, could actually get it off now. Oh, I want to see a buggered bolt. Now, as well as the top 4, I can also see right under there, there's 2 there as well, one on that side and one on that side. And then if you zoom out so you know where you are, go into the middle, actually another sneaky one right there. So I don't know if there's one to the left side, but we'll take them 3 out and see how we go. Just so you know, that centre one was very hard to get, because obviously there's no wiggle room for a spanner to move. So I've had to use a 12mm socket on there with like an elbow connection, I don't know the proper term for it, and an extension. I've just managed to break it with that. So very annoying that you'll need that kind of tool set up to get it, unless you know another way of getting there, like if you know how to get it up from underneath. But with me not being able to get under the car, that's the best I could do. And luckily it's worked. Right, so it turns out on this left side there is actually a bolt right underneath there on this left hand side that you can't get to unless you're coming from this side. You're gonna have to have your full arm extension, get a span on there, crack that off. Now I thought I can do that. I've got as much space as I can get. I've even took the large pipe that comes from the engine to the radiator here. I took that off to get that out of the way, but the main thing that's catching me and the main thing that's stopping me is this throttle body, because when my arm's under there I've got to go kind of to the left and get round this section of it here where the plug is. So I'm gonna have to remove this. Like I said, I don't want to rush, I don't want to cut corners, I want to do it properly. So there's 2 bolts here, sorry, there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and then a nut there and a nut there. I think that should take it off. Let's just swiftly do that and get on with it then, shall we? I don't have another one of these gaskets, so I want to just make sure I keep that safe. Right, there was no way I was getting any leverage with my arm under there to actually break the bolt loose. So I reached out for help, and Brett, as per usual, has come to the rescue and showed me this very strange but very useful technique, where if you've got a ratchet spanner, make sure that it's on the bolt, thread the shoelace through the other side, up through this top point, then you can pull and get more leverage and actually use your body weight to break it. I can only really do it a couple of times because I think the ratchet teeth on this are quite large, so there's a lot of slack before it gets another click. But it were enough to break the nut off, and then I've just gone in with another spanner and then I could finger tighten it off. Nearly 2 days I just tried to take this manifold off, and I think we might be at a stage now where we can pull it off. I will mention there was another hose under here that was attached there. It's quite a big hose. I tried to move it out of the way so I can get the ratchet further down, but it was nothing to do with that. But that does need, I think that needs disconnecting anyway, because this main piece is attached to the actual manifold. So, but do not face it straight down, because loads of coolant will just go straight out of it. I learned that the hard way. There's another bracket here that's like a support bracket, but you can't pull it out because this thread is through the top of the bracket, so I need to move the bracket out of the way so that it works. This sun is literally baking me. I have to move you guys. Right, so even with it loose, it still won't come off. One, because it's hitting that hard line there, which I've undone that bolt nut and tried moving it, you can't move it, so I've put that back on. And then on this side, sitting up against the tensioner bracket, so I can't pull it out from the 2 threads. But I've also been informed that you can double nut it, so you put 2 nuts on and then you use the rear one, the one furthest in, to undo the rod out of the block itself, and then it just won't be in the way at all. So Ash, if you're watching, thank you for that tip as well. Honestly, the amount of people I've bombarded with just questions, and it's taken me absolutely forever, and I appreciate that it looks like that as well, but now I know next time it won't take this long because I know what I need to do. So will you, hopefully. I'm going to have to take that off and clean it anyway, because it's got grime and stuff on it from moving it around. Oh my god. Now, if you are new to the channel, I will explain. There's not much difficulty wise or like deep mechanic wise that 1 I'm capable of, or 2 I've even done. Anything that I've really needed help with, I've had my dad come and help me do it. So doing something like this to this extent, I'm really happy about, even though it's took 2 days and tons of sweat and swearing. But I will say that is the most horrible experience I've ever had working on a car. I know there's worse things, like people swap engines and stuff, but that was horrid. The fact of the matter is, intake manifold's out. Pop the gasket there, we'll save that. Give it a wipe down so that when we put it back on, it's nice and clean. Fuel rail's still in this bag, so that's all okay. We've got no hoses dripping anywhere, luckily. All I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get another bag, I think, and cover this section up, just so no rubbish or grit or anything falls down there into the valves. To be honest, I've never even seen this part of an engine before in real life. The fact that you can actually see the valves where they go in and out, that's pretty cool. I feel like I tend to learn more when I'm actually visually seeing something and practically doing something in real life, rather than just like reading it in a book. So even though this has took ages, I've learned tons and gained loads of confidence, so I do urge you to do that. Anyway, job's not even done, although I am done for today. Sorry this video is going to be so long, it might even be more than 1 part, because I'm just trying to cover everything to make it easier for you guys. So enough rambling, see you tomorrow. It was moved out of the way. That's a 14mm, the one that's behind. So. Oh, and there's one more, and that should remove it. Oh. Right, so this is another day again because it absolutely started chucking it down when I removed the other one. So this is the one that we're putting in. This is the one that we've just removed. You can tell, well, obviously this might have been cleaned up a little bit at the place that got the part from another car, but even if you're just looking inside there, it's a lot cleaner compared to looking inside that one. It's kind of hard to make out, but that's all black inside. All this outer space here is black. It's just covered in like a sooty residue from it burning out. That looks in a lot better nick, so fingers crossed that one will be absolutely fine when we pop it in. I'm also going to do some cleaning up in here because all this front section, there was a time when I not tucked these up properly and the engine got a bit hot and it started bubbling through underneath the rocker cover. So under here it's got a bit, well, it's obviously got sticky because of the oil that's came out, and then it's just picked up loads of crap and gunk. So clean all this section out first,
Then we'll put the new starter in.
Pop the charged battery in and give it a bash. Now obviously the pump's gonna start when I'm turning the engine over, so it might split a little bit of coolant, but it shouldn't be too much that I can't just top it up a bit afterwards. So we'll get it all rigged up and we'll see how it goes. That's enough for me. That is the only noise I needed to hear. So then, I bet like me you're eager for this video to finally end now. So much work just to get to that one part, to do that one small thing, but at least now we know that one, it's changed, and two, it's working. So all we need to do now is make sure the manifold's back on, do everything back in reverse, and fingers crossed that should solve that issue. I don't know if it'll solve the electrical issue where it keeps draining the battery, and like I've said, apparently a dodgy starter can use a lot of energy from the battery, so we'll see how it goes. Either way, that's loads more experience I've just got doing something else that I was absolutely terrified to do. Save a lot of money because I didn't have to take it to a garage, and I'm not a mechanic, you know that. It's one less thing niggling in the back of my mind that needs sorting with the car, so it's a win. If you did enjoy any of this video, if you enjoy any of my videos, please like and subscribe to the channel and click the little bell button so it reminds you when a fresh video does come on. And until next time guys, like I always say, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.